Hi, my name is Miss Pam, and I'm from Building Blocks Child Development Center here in Spencer, West Virginia. And I have a book and a science project to do with you today. Our book is about honeybees. You know those little buzzy things you see flying around in your yard? Well, we're going to talk about the honeybees, but this kind of goes for a lot of the other bees that you see, like bumblebees and not necessarily yellow jackets. Yellow jackets are they're kind of mean. They're kind of a mean bee. And sometimes when you see a bee outside, it's kind of scary, okay? Because you think, oh my goodness, it's after me, it's going to sting me. No. A lot of times when a bee's buzzing around you, it likes the color of your shirt. Like my shirt has flowers on it, and it might think I'm a flower. It doesn't want to sting you. It doesn't want to do that. It wants to see what you are. And you might smell good. And the bee might think you're a flower and it just might come and land on you. Doesn't mean it's going to sting you. It's scary. I know. But we got to be careful with our bees, okay? Our bees are very, very important. And this book is going to explain to us why they're so important. So let's get to it. This is a National Geographic Kids book. Oh, let me just back up and show you this first person. That is a honeybee up really, really close. Look at it. He's actually kind of hairy, isn't he? Well, I think those hairs all over his body serve a purpose. Here's his eye, and here's one of his wings. And his other wings on the other side of his body. And here's his antenna. And here's his legs. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. On the other side, right there, I think is the 6th one. Bees have 6 legs. They're an insect. They're a flying insect. Let's learn a little bit more about them. And there are some worker bees, and they're on a honeycomb. Look, a honeybee buzzing through a warm afternoon. A little worker bee dips into colorful flowers again and again and again. A honeybee visits hundreds of flowers a day, tasting each one with its feet. I don't think that I want to taste anything with my feet. And look here, now we can see his 6 legs. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Wow, I wonder what that yellow stuff is right there. Huh, look at those big eyes. He's actually really interesting looking up real close, isn't he? From each flower, she collects a sweet liquid called nectar. She sips the runny nectar through her straw-like tongue and stores it in a special, just for honey, tummy. The tongue is called a proboscis. Okay. And it has there's this big long tongue coming out and tasting all the flowers. Or getting the nectar out. I guess he's still tasting it with his feet. I do a lot of stuff with my feet, like walk on them, but I don't think I taste with them. I don't think I like that. Flower pollen dusts the bee like fluffy golden snow. And I'm good. Goodness. And that stuff right there, the pollen, the little yellow stuff all over the bee, that's pollen. And I guess my allergies are going to act up just looking at it. Sometimes in the spring, I get a runny nose because of all of that yellow stuff. And today, I kind of got a little bit of that runny nose. Every once in a while, she stops, rolls the pollen into balls, and stuffs these into tiny sacks on her back legs. Oh, that's what that is. She gets the pollen off of her body and puts it back there. I wonder what she's going to do with it. Honey, I'm home. When the bee is so heavy with nectar and pollen she can barely fly, she heads home to the hive. Thousands of other workers are arriving home too. Look at all of those bees. And there's their honeycomb. Look at all Wow, that's a lot. Inside the hive, the air hums with excitement. Bees bustle to and fro. All those bee words. Look at them all over the honeycomb. The whole colony works together for its queen. As long as she is safe and healthy, so is the hive. Worker bees bring her food and carry out her waste. They fan their wings to keep her hive cool. That is the queen. See how she's a lot bigger than all the other little bees? And this up here, sometimes you see this in the spring. This is a swarm, okay? And they're all there together. And they're looking for a place to live. One of the most important jobs in a hive is caring for the queen's many eggs. And that right there is a honeybee egg. And there is all the little honeybee eggs inside of a honeycomb. And it says a hive is made up of many honeycombs. Through spring and summer, she lays up to 2,000 eggs per day. She wiggles her abdomen and down into a honeycomb and drops each egg into its own 6-walled cell. They all get their own bedrooms. Wow, I wasn't that lucky when I was a little girl. I had to share a bedroom. Every egg gets its own place to live. An egg's shell melts away, and hello, larva. The chubby baby looks nothing like a bee yet. Does that look like a bee? A little larva? No. For 3 days, the larva is fed a milky mush called royal jelly. Then it is switched to a honey pollen mixture called bee bread. It says each larva weaves a cocoon inside. Its body keeps growing and changing. And there is the little larvas, and they turn into little... No, they're still larvas. But that's what they look like down inside their little honeycombs. And then this is the bee bread. Crawl. Finally, a honeybee chews open its cocoon and climbs out of its cozy cell. Ta-da! And there it comes out of its bedroom for the first time. Honeybees keep their hive clean and neat. So the new bee's first job is to clean her room. Well, that sounds familiar. My mom's always saying, clean your room, when I was little. Well, that's her first job. She's got to clean her room. Hives can be found in unusual places. Many honeybees live in human-made hives. A beekeeper opens a hive to remove part of the sticky golden honey. Yum. And there is a beekeeper. And he has some special equipment. He has a hat that has a screen on it that keeps the bees off of his face. And he has some gloves. Just because sometimes you have germs on your hands that you don't want to get in your hive because it might make your hive sick. And he has on some special clothes, and that keeps the bees, and when the bees get a little angry because they're coming to take his honey, the bees might get angry. So this is something that keeps him safe. And these are the hives. And look, this one is in a tree. You can see that honeycomb in that tree. Bye-bye, Buzzy. Hope you find a lot of lovely flowers. And there is a honeybee. And again, got a little tongue and 6 legs and some wings. And actually, they're kind of furry, aren't they? Busy as a bee. There's plenty of work to do in a honeybee hive. Every worker does each of these jobs in order, moving from one to the next every few days during her 6th week of life. First, you got to clean out your cell. Worker bees are always female bees, always girl bees. Then they have to feed the queen and the larva. And each hive has only one queen bee. She's the only one able to lay eggs. The eggs are as tiny as the very tip of a brand new crayon. Little teeny tiny things. Well, the third thing they have to do is they have to build and repair the honeycombs. Okay, then they make honey from nectar. And then they guard the hive entrance. You see some bees right there, and they're just watching out for danger. And then they have to fly out to collect the nectar. Male honeybees, called drones, do not work in the hive and only live long enough to mate with the queen. When fall arrives and the weather turns cold, drones are kicked out of the hive. They have to find a new place to live. Bees make honey more honey, please. Bees make honey from flower nectar. They store it in the topmost cells of their honeycomb, and they eat both honey and pollen. Pollen is stored in the cells below the honey. In one day, a worker bee brings home enough nectar to make only a tiny bit of honey. But a hive might have 50,000 or more bees. Working together, they can make as much as 2 pounds of honey per day. That's enough honey to fill 2 canning jars. Wow, that is a lot. It says pollen cells are built above those filled with eggs and growing larvae. The bee is the key. When bees fly from flower to flower, tiny grains of pollen stick to their feet, then get dropped off on another flower. That's called pollination, and it's what helps flowers make more flowers. Bees pollinate many food crops too. And this is salvia and blueberries. Without bees, we couldn't enjoy things like apples, blueberries, cherries, cucumbers, strawberries, or melons. Bees are important to many ecosystems. You can help them by planting nectar-rich flowers like daisies and marigolds and blue flowers like salvia. Bees seem to like the color blue. You might also plant any of the fruits or berries mentioned above, as well as broccoli, pumpkins, and tomatoes. And there is the bee maze. You can go through and find the bees. Find its way back to the hive. Let's go this way. Buzz. Nope. Can't go that way. We'll buzz back. Bzz. Nope. Can't go that way. Bzz. Nope. Bzz. Oh, nope. Can't go that way. Back up. Bzz. Hey, look at that. That is a colony of bees that's outside in a tree. When a worker bee returns to the hive, it sometimes does a waggle dance. The special wiggle waggle moves are actually directions that show other workers where to go to find the flowers. Okay, now look at here. It goes bzzz. Now, we want to go to the one way. Let's find flowers. Flowers are going to be over here, guys. So I'm going to buzz this way. Bzzz. Or maybe the flowers the other direction. So bzzz. They're over here, guys. Bzzz. And that tells other bees where to find honey. And there is a picture of a honeybee on a flower. The end. All right, so did you learn something about bees? Bees are very, very important. Okay, we have to have bees for all of our fruits and vegetables. We have to have bees for honey. And we also have to have bees for other things like our pretty flowers and stuff to grow. Because if we don't have the bees, then we wouldn't have any flowers. No, that wouldn't be good. And no apples? Oh, that wouldn't be good. And no blueberries? Oh, that would just not be good. So we have to be careful with our bees. Beekeepers are very important. And sometimes you'll see white boxes sitting out in someone's yard or a garden. And that's where the bees live. I have a friend of mine whose dad had bees. And I was afraid of them. I wouldn't go to that end of the garden because I was afraid. Yep, I was. I'm big, and I was afraid. So I understand if you're afraid of bees. But remember, we don't want to hit them. We don't want to slap at them. We want to scream and flail our arms around because then they're already checking you out. And if you move your arm like that and they're still buzzing around, you might actually hit one, and it might sting you. But honeybees don't want to sting, okay? Honeybees are a special kind of bee, and we really, really need them. Now, bumblebees take pollen back and forth to other flowers and stuff, and so do other buzzy things. Um, but the honeybees are what we really, really need for the honey. All right. So I have a science project, and you're never going to believe what I need for the science project. First, I need some flowers, and I got these little flowers cut out. Then I need some pipe cleaners, some black and yellow ones. Can you think about what we're going to make with black and yellow? I don't know. We'll find out. I need some scissors. And I may need my pencil bag. And I need something else that you're just never going to believe. Are you ready for this? Do you know that when mommy makes macaroni and cheese, or daddy or your adult makes macaroni and cheese? You know that little packet of stuff? Well, we need some of that today. Can you believe it? Macaroni and cheese powder for a science experiment? Well, let's see what's going to happen here. First, we need to do is we need to take one of our pipe cleaners, and I'm going to fold it up like this, and I'm going to cut it. And I need 6 bee legs. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, there are my 6 honeybee legs. All right, and now I'm going to make us a honeybee. So my honeybee is going to stay on my finger. So I've got my black and yellow pipe cleaner, and I'm going to hold on to it, and I'm going to wrap it around. Oh, I dropped a piece. Hold on, back up. We're going to wrap it around my finger, and it's going to be my honeybee. All right, so around and around and around we go here. Is it looking like a honeybee yet? Maybe. All right, so we got it wrapped around here. Now that we got it wrapped around, it needs some legs. It looks kind of like a honeybee. So I'm going to take my legs and we'll fold my legs in half and give them little tiny feet, just like that. And we're going to tuck them into the spirals of our honeybee that we have down there and give them a little twist, okay? And that'll hold them on. Okay, so there's 2 legs. Oh, wait a minute, back up. I forgot what I was doing. I'm going to twist it and make 1 leg. Okay, we'll put another piece in there. Yeah, if we can get it in there, scoot in there. Put it on there. And there's 2 legs for our bee. Our bee is getting a little wobbly, but we'll fix it in just a minute, okay? So there's 2 feet. Gotta have some bee feet for the bee to taste with, right? Okay, so here's a 3rd bee leg on that side. Now we need 3 more legs on this side, because a bee is an insect, and all insects have 6 legs. Now, a spider, you think about it being a bug, but it's really not a bug. It's called an arachnid. And the reason it's not a bug is because it doesn't have 6 legs. It has 8. So, it is not an insect. All right, so there's 3. Now we get this 4 on here. Get our little buzzy little legs on there. Twist it and bend it a little bit. And we need 1 more. Put our last leg on there. Give it a little twist and a little bend. And believe it or not, let me get it back on our finger. Buzz, 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 buzz. We have a honeybee. It's not a great honeybee, but it's a honeybee to show you what happens with a bee. All right, so let's see if we got all our legs on there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All right, so we got our honeybee made. And my honeybee's not wanting to work real well. Sometimes he works real good and sometimes he doesn't. And every time I do the science experiment, I have to make a new honeybee for my finger because, well, you'll see what happens in a minute. All right, so we got our honeybee made. Now, he's going to sit right there. Now we need some flowers. We're going to get some flowers laid out there. All right. Now comes the macaroni and cheese mix. Oh, you know what I better do? I better get us a piece of paper and put our flowers on it. That way we don't make a mess. We don't want to make a mess. Okay, so we got all of our flowers on here. All right, so now comes in the macaroni and cheese. We're going to take a little bit of our macaroni and cheese powder, just a little bit of it, and we're going to put it right here on this flower. All right, right there on that flower. Okay, that is our pollen. The stuff that makes me sneeze and gives me a runny nose too. And sometimes a sneezy and a cough and ugh. That's allergies. Okay, so we're going to put our bee back on our finger. And we are ready to buzz around. All right, got all our legs going. Yep. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Got our legs ready. And here we go. So, Mr. Bee here, bzzz, he's flying around. And he goes to this flower. And he tastes this flower. And he goes over here to this flower and tastes this flower. And look what happened. Some of the pollen from this flower went to that flower. Isn't that cool? So he buzzes around this flower and buzz, 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 buzz. And he comes over to this flower, buzz, 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 buzz. And look at all the pollen that's on his feet now. See, we needed all those feet for a reason. Look at all that pollen on there. So he buzzes back over, buzz, 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 and tastes that flower. Buzz, 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 and over this flower, and buzz, 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 buzz. And look, see the pollen? There's pollen on each of the flowers. And there's a little bit of pollen here on my paper. And that kind of falls to the ground. And guess what? There's other little bugs that like to eat that. So we're buzz, 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 buzzing around. And we got all of our pollen. Buzz, 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 buzz. But what about this flower? This flower doesn't have any. And guess what? If we don't have any bees, then none of the flowers have pollen. And when the flowers don't have pollen, then something else can't happen. Because underneath that flower, and I gotta get my marker out. Underneath this flower, on the back of it, there's this little tiny thing, just about that big. Okay? And that, believe it or not, is the beginning of an apple. Now, if the flower doesn't have pollen, then that apple, it can't grow. There's no apple. It's all gone. So, our bees are important. They have to go through and they have to buzz, buzz, buzz to all of the flowers. Get our little bee back here. And we gotta buzz, 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 buzz to all the flowers so we can make sure that all of them have some pollen. Buzz, 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 buzz. And there. and he still has some pollen on his feet. And that one has just a little bit of pollen. But guess what? It doesn't take a whole lot. All right. So our bees, the buzz, 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 are very, very important. And remember, he doesn't want to sting you. He just wants to find something to eat. He's hungry. He likes to eat the flowers, or he likes to drink the flowers, because he really doesn't have a mouth. They have a proboscis, like a straw. No teeth. They have no teeth. But what they do have is they have the stinger part. And the stinger part is on the back. Okay? They don't want to sting you. They just want to find some pollen and some nectar to make some honey, so we can have honey on our pancakes. Like honey on your pancakes? Or honey and peanut butter mixed up together. There's all kinds of things. Oh, and guess what? No bees, no jelly, no bees, and no popsicles, because popsicles have fruit in them. No bees, and we don't have a lot of stuff. So our bees are very, very important. So if you have a beekeeper around your home, maybe your adult, your parents or your grandparents, your aunt or your uncle, could call them and ask them, hey, do you mind telling us about bees? And a lot of towns, like my town, has a beekeeper society. And that's a group of people that get together and talk about their bees and help the bees. So I remember, bees are very, very important. They don't want to sting you. They just want to look at you. All right. Well, that's it for me today, and Mr. Buzzy Buzzy Bee here. And I hope you had fun, and I hope you learned a little bit about bees. And I will see you next time.